The full meaning of this narrative can be understood by key events that occurred at age 7, then age 9, this one at age 20, then at age 41. When I was 7, a preacher in a little church in Oklahoma said out loud that God loves each person as if that one person is the only person in his creation. I listened carefully and took his words very personally. It was my choice to believe that to be true, so at age 7 I had belief, and privately on a dark night gazing up at the stars of the heavens I made it known to God that I expected him to eventually appear in person. I told no one about that, but God knew I could feel it. At age 9 I encountered the famous evangelist Billy Graham in the Cotton Bowl in 1952. Billy laid out the fundamentals of Christianity and my response was that is a good deal, I'll take it. I could see there was no absolute proof for my childhood belief in the promises of Christianity, and that if I would continue being Christian I would have to believe it anyway. Belief without proof is the essence of faith. So at age 7 I had belief in faith, tack on a reasonably good education in Christianity, add my inherent rebellious and skeptical personality, and allow 11 more years to pass, and that brings us up to the first supernatural event that occurred at age 20. By that time I was a pre-med student at Texas A&M. I did not realize it at that time, but now I see that over a lifetime God prepared me for his direct appearance in critical events at year 7, 9 and 20 and 41. The next in the lessons of God came at age 20 in 1963, and it prepared me for the appearance of God 21 years after that, when I reached age 41 in 1984. Although I will refer to this event at age 20 in 1963 as an NDE, in truth it is an actual death event. An aid, although brief in 1963, transcendental events and experiences were not widely known. That was 12 years before Raymond Moody's book Life After Life hit the market in 1975. I had not heard of such things, and there was no Moody book yet, so this NDE was truly a surprise. I knew something extraordinary happened, but I had no name for it or even a concept of what it was. Even though I was only 20 years old, I was stable in my sense of reality and therefore certain it was a real event. Although unusual, perhaps unique, it did not occur to me that it could be a dream or a hallucination. I did entertain the possibility that it might be a seizure phenomenon, but I was able to rule that out during medical school. College Station, Texas, and Texas A&M, famous for football, military training, and hard as rock science courses. That was my choice for college. A&M is well known for the Corporation of Cadets and for preparing young men to fill the ranks of officers in the military. In 1963, the U.S. is in the early stages of the war in Southeast Asia. Vietnam is heating up and dead soldiers are arriving in pine boxes daily at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The body count would eventually reach 58,220. The anti-war movement is also heating up. Young people are adopting the hippie lifestyle and protesting the war. We are 6 days away from November 22nd, when President Kennedy will be assassinated, and 6 days after that at 3:30 a.m. November 28th I will join him in death, but only briefly. I work waiting tables 3 times each day, serving other student cadets their meals military mess hall style in exchange for tuition. Each day the alarm clock goes off at 6 a.m. and I am off to wait tables and inhale breakfast, then to classes, punctuated by waiting tables and inhaling lunch at noon, followed by classes all afternoon, and back to waiting tables, one more inhale, and I am back to the dorm at 5 p.m. A 12-hour day, but it's not over. Next I am off for an all-out run using the 440-yard track at Kyle Field 20 times, around 5 miles each day, requiring 26 minutes 5 minutes 12 seconds per mile. Today, exactly like each day at 6 p.m. I am returning from running and heading back to the dorm to study until 3 a.m. I am jamming 4 years of study into 3 years. I am a young man in a big hurry. It is incredibly stressful, but I am gifted with endurance. I have pleasure in the stress of studying and running and preparing for what I believe will be a useful life of service in medicine. At 3 a.m. each day I hit the sack for 3 hours of sleep, and the dreaded alarm clock goes off again as usual at 6 a.m. The caps off at 21 waking hours per day, Monday through Friday, and then I knuckle down for the weekend and 16 hours of additional study time. Ambitious, brutal, I still clung to my dream of seeing God in person, but 13 years had passed and still nothing. Did I mention that I am an impatient person? Rigorous church attendance and Bible study through high school left me nonplussed about God and Christianity. I was a cold Christian. I believed in Christian morality, but I did not buy the salvation, eternal life part. Even though knowledge of the Bible remained in my brain, I thought that people can believe those things and even have faith, can possibly know I was agnostic. I was certain I did not know. Doubt had overcome faith. I had abandoned the journey of the Spirit. I tell you all this so you can understand what happens next. President John Kennedy is leading a press conference at the State Department in Washington, D.C. The 64th press conference of a presidency that will be cut short by assassination at 12:30 p.m. 8 days from now, the 22nd of November, in of all places Dallas, Texas, my hometown. The bullet believed to have taken JFK's life was fired from the third floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Although that would be disputed, I desperately want to be in Dealey Plaza to see Kennedy, but elect to stay in College Station and continue my insane study schedule. It is Thursday night, November 14, 1963. The assassination of President Kennedy is still 8 days in the future. In the press conference, Kennedy is discussing Cambodia, the Cold War, and Vietnam. The world is in motion, and before dawn my life will cease. And then resume. 30 seconds later, midnight comes and goes. Tomorrow morning arrives at 1201 a.m. I am at my desk as usual in these wee hours of Friday morning in my Spartan room, third floor of Briggs Hall Military Dormitory, loaded on coffee to help me stay awake. 3 hours later I am still gunning down information about biochemistry, now nodding off my signal to go to bed and sleep. I am macho student, a superhero in my own mind, so I study 30 more minutes to prove something to myself. A big physics test is coming up and I will ace it or die trying. At 3:30 am I stand up, stagger to bed, and fall into the lower bunk of the bunk bed. I am an upperclassman. I have this room to myself now. Flat on my back I see the bunk bed above me. After 3.5 months of this routine, deep, profound exhaustion has set in, but sleep does not come. Soft light is coming from the lamppost on the street below, and I can make out the objects in my dimly lit room. I stare up at the metal structure of the empty military-style bunk bed above. My breath is coming progressively slower. I feel my heart pulsing and slowing down. I begin counting the interval between heartbeats: 1001, 1002, 1003, up to 1008, and then lub-dub. 8 seconds later, lub-dub. My heart is contracting every 8 seconds with a pulse rate of less than 8 per minute. I continue to count the seconds, wondering will it stop. I know I cannot survive for long at 8 heartbeats per minute. Now I see both my hands reaching up with a will of their own to the metal structure of the bunk above me. They grasp the frame of the bed and pull my body up. Oddly, I am not commanding my hands to do that. They do it of their own volition. I am not yet aware that my heart has just flatlined. My hands grasp the metal parts of the upper bunk bed. I feel the shape of the metal. It is cold and thin, almost sharp in my hands, and it hurts a bit. I am amazed at how easy it is to pull myself up. I think that weight training course is really working. I am so strong. I feel weightless up under the metal structure above. With the top of my head at least I encounter where it should be, but there is no sensation. My fingers feel the metal frame of the bunk bed, but my scalp cannot feel the metal frame. Then up, and now I realize my head is where the metal structure is located, but still no sensation. I look down to my left, and there I see a man not breathing. I stare at him and think that that man is dead. Then comes the realization that man is me. I am dead, except I am not dead. How can this be? Immediately I know what happened. I died, literally stressed myself to death. I have a life to lead. I am not ready to die. I am too young to die. Panic. How will I do this? I do not know how a person gets back into a dead body. I am grasping the bunk bed frame, and then it happens by pure intention. I figure there is nothing to lose, so I release the metal structure of the bunk bed, and by intending it I fall to my left and into that dead body, facing up the same position as my dead body. My eyes pop open and my body briefly convulses, breathing deeply and rapidly to replenish oxygen. I quickly sit up on the side of the bed, gasping for air. I think I should be shocked, but I am not. It is also natural, and yet wait, I am shocked. What happened? I consider what to do and think I will walk to the sink, splash my face with cold water, then go back to bed, stand up, take the first step, and light comes from everywhere. Every single object in the room: the chair, the desk, the bunk bed, the door to the hallway, the walls, the closet, the sink, the floor. It all radiates extremely bright white light. The air itself is made of semi-transparent brilliant white light resembling a cloud. As I prepare to take the next step, complete darkness, nothing visible, a perfect void, then light, then dark, light, then dark, light, then dark, repeating I estimate 100 times. During those 5 steps to the sink, I turn on the cold water faucet to splash my face vigorously. To my great relief, it stops. Now the room has only pale light from the lamppost outside. Crashing into bed, I'm confused. I know one thing: I must stop this study until 3 a.m. if I want to live. And I notice one other thing: I am no longer agnostic. Now I know I have have a body that is housed in yet independent from the skin bag gorilla suit I thought was me. It has no weight and can move by thought and intention, therefore I must reevaluate my entire life and life itself. That was the restart of the spiritual journey I had abandoned. God was in the distance calling me back. It took years to put that event into perspective. Eventually I concluded that speaking through the event, God said, listen up tough guy, get more sleep. And Shakespeare is correct, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamed, but in your philosophy you must choose between light and dark. Although I was no longer agnostic, I still did not know exactly what to believe. The choice as I saw it was to immediately swallow whole the religious concepts I had been taught as a child, or live in the question about life and reality, knowing there must be more. But what more? I chose to not pretend to know more than I knew. I needed time to digest this new event. This would all churn within me for the next 21 years until I finally resorted to demanding that God make good on that personal appearance thing. Next would come my resolution with God. A few weeks ago here on Heaven Awaits, Lee recounted that resolution following belief at age 7. The 1963 event Lee just recounted paved the way for the event in 1984. In 1963 at age 20 my cup was full and I was not ready for more. 3 pivotal events were now in the books: belief, faith, doubt, and now in NDE. This 4th event, 1963 at AM, yielded certainty of the brain, mind, spirit, soul quadrant and human beings. 21 years later the in-person appearance of God in 1984 was the 5th and presumably last of the God lessons. From 1963 to 1984 life rocked on without big events. Then came the astounding event of 1984. And those 2 events fit hand in glove, but in 1963 I had no idea there would ever be a glove to fit that hand.